video, we're actually going to be looking at a set that's actually been out for a while. I've had it about as soon as it came out, just never got around to reviewing it. I did open it up and do a minor fix to Deadpool. We'll talk about that when we open the box up. Main reason I was wanting to review this set is I just recently got a package in from Amazon yesterday. The Deadpool 2 Amazon exclusive figure. So I figured before we look at this figure, I wanted to go through this set, and so we can have this one for comparison when I do the Deadpool 2 review. This set was released at the same time as a lot of other Fox movie characters. Really was like a little disappointed when they first announced this set. It's like we couldn't just get Deadpool by himself. Nothing against the Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I mainly just wanted the Wade Wilson Deadpool. Speaking of that, I kind of like the effect that they had the character's actual real names marked out, and their code names are written above and below the real names. And the packaging, it's a big window. You can see all the accessories the figures come with. You get Deadpool, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, 2 different katanas, a knife, 2 pistols here, various hands for Deadpool, 2 extra alternate hands for Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and a couple of flame effects we've seen on a few other Marvel Legends figures. In the back, you can see the X logo. On the side, you get like a silhouette of Deadpool. Opposite side, a silhouette of Negasonic Teenage Warhead. On the back, you get a side-by-side of those 2 silhouette-style pictures. More like a monochrome silhouette type look. On the top of the box, you get the X-Men Deadpool logo. It's like a logo, looks like a Deadpool's like a sticker over top of it. That's kind of cool. On the bottom, you get your Marvel Legends logo, warnings, legalese, barcodes. Here we have the tray outside the box. Then you can see all the accessories really clearly now. You get the unicorn, the Nerf guns, 2 katanas, the alternate hands for Deadpool, the flame effects for Negasonic Teenage Warhead, the knife, and the alternate hands for Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Here we have Deadpool and Negasonic Teenage Warhead freed from their plastic tray. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at Negasonic Teenage Warhead first. Just the main figure I want to look at is Deadpool. Set him to the side with the Negasonic Teenage Warhead figure. From the lower torso down to the lower legs to the feet is reused from the Marvel Legends Teenage Female Body. Just the upper torso, the upper arms, forearms, hands, and head are all new, and the belt as well. There's a nice texture on these new parts. You got a fabric style texture on the newly sculpted parts. You got wrinkles into the cloth and textures through here. By reusing the Marvel Legends comic book style lower body, the lower stripes, that's just using just paint, so you don't have the nice texture on these, which if you're going to go ahead and make us pay us a $50 premium price to get a 2-pack, go ahead and just sculpt the whole new body. We're paying more than individual figures for the 2-pack anyway. Don't cheap out like this, Hasbro. Her accessories is 2 alternate hands. You get another fist hand and open style hand. All the hands are hinged. The flame effect we've seen before on multiple figures. See, with this figure being on that teenage body, it's going to have some of the issues. Design of the legs for these teenage body female figures, they're very hard to get to the balance point and have them stand properly. They tip over and fall off over in my display quite often. One thing I am going to do, I've seen some other people do this, to give the lower legs a little bit of style. I'm going to I got a set of magic boots from the Walgreens exclusive, and I'm going to swap these lower legs. Let's do that right quick, and I'll be right back. After a little bit of heat and pop, I was able to swap the boots. I got rid of the smooth, plain lower legs and added the magic style boots for the Negasonic Teenage Warhead. And these look so much better than these plain, smooth boots. Gives a little more visual. It's not screen accurate, of course, but it's closer than just using straight up smooth boots. And they have these available. I don't know why they just didn't use this for this body and a full figure to begin with. The flame effects are a little big for this figure, but they serve the purpose, which they still look pretty good on this figure. Alright, let's switch over to Deadpool. Like most of you, this was the main reason I bought this 2-pack set, to get the movie style Deadpool. He does come with a lot of accessories. You get various alternate hands. Let's see. You get open style pose hand, trigger fingers, closed fist, another trigger finger, C grip like for holding a sword, another C grip holding a sword. And with the 2 on the figure, you get 4 sets of hands total. And you may notice too, look, they actually have some hands with the back pad painted silver, some of them painted black. That way you can actually change it in between the movie styles. Like on Deadpool 1 had the silver. I'm not sure which one, Deadpool 1 or 2 had the silver on the back of the hand, and one of them didn't. Let's see. Deadpool 2, he's got silver. So Deadpool 2 actually has the silver on the hands. And the Deadpool 1 didn't have it. As for sculpt on the figure, I love the texture, the sculpt of the figure, this, I love when they do this for the figures, when they give like a fabric material sculpt texture. And the various different textures, you got the canvas style looking texture on the red areas, and like a leathery look too on the black areas. I like the different various types of textures like this. Really makes your figure look a lot more higher end when they take the time to do that kind of work. There's one thing that's really stupid Hasbro did with when they were producing this figure. When I got this figure, these guns were glued into the holsters. They're separate pieces. They're not molded with the holsters, but from some idiotic reason, they glued these guns to the holsters. I was able to take some hot water and slowly work, and I was able to get the guns out. This one is got out with no damage whatsoever. And a lot of people's mileage will vary too. Some of them just put like a little bit of glue in them, and some of them they put a ton of glue in them, and people marred up their guns. It's like on this one, I had more glue on it, and the gun got marred up a little bit over on this side. But this was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. It's not a kid's line. It's a 14 plus up line, not like Center Legends. Why the heck would they glue these guns into the holsters? And they gave you like these stupid Nerf guns for them to hold. I just don't get that. That's just so stupid. For the swords, it seems like the swords seem a little thin to me. And I'm used to seeing like the Marvel Legends over stylized swords, but even in real life, it seems like a real life katana should be thicker than that. The blade should be. With the sculpted swords, they're not that bad, but on this sword, I actually have some ugly flashing on the top of the sword. You see where it was molded. They didn't clean that up before they painted it. This one's numbered number 6, and the other one is numbered number 3. So they made a left and right sword, which is weird, because they are the same size blade, but this one is just cleaner. You can see, hold them up side by side, how much cleaner the number 3 is compared to the number 6. Yeah, I don't get it. But the fit to the holsters just fine. The sheaves. They fit into the sheaves just fine. Guns for holsters. Holsters for guns. Sheaths for swords and knives. I like the band of the deer. It looks really nice. I do have a weird little odd smudging through here. I don't know if you can pick it up on camera enough. He's got a sheath down on his boot to hold the knife. I like the sculpt of the boots. The knee pads. All this looks really good. The Deadpool butt. The pouches. More pouches. I like having all the pouches. For articulation, the neck is on a ball joint and the head's on a ball joint. But having this ball peg set up for the head, he can't look up all that much. Even with using the neck joint, that's it. It's almost just looking just maybe slightly up. Down. You can look down just a little bit. Then the neck joint doesn't really, in the torso, don't seem to want to move on mine. You can see it's kind of, without the neck band, it's pretty ugly. And so you got to push that down to make sure it's hidden. I'm not getting a lot of movement out of that neck. The disc hinge shoulders go out to here. There is a butterfly joint, goes back really well. Doesn't really go forward that much, just a little bit. Goes a lot better back. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows, get you all the way up. Ab crunch. You can click forward, bend down all the way this much. And the sword sheaths will hinder it on the back, but it does bend back really well. There's a waist twist, but it is stuck. My waist twist is glued. It is not going to move. I will try to heat that up and try to pop it loose, but I'm not going to mess with it right now, so yay, QC issues. Yeah, I will break that if I try to move that right now. Ball jointed hips, kick out this far. Well, it runs into the holsters. It'll take the guns out maybe a little farther. Yeah, a little bit, about the same. The guns are pretty rubbery. Thigh swivel. Double joint knees. There's no boot rotation. There's hinged ankles. Kicks up really well. Back. And ankle pivots. On Negasonic Teenage Warhead, you got the disc hinge for the neck, so she actually looks up better than Deadpool and down better than Deadpool. You get tilt. Disc hinge shoulders. There's no bicep swivel. The swivel's made into the elbow joint. And those are stuck as well. I will break this little peg if I try to move that. Let's try the other one. The other one moves. There you go. A little more than 90 degrees. Hinge and swivel wrist. There's a diaphragm joint. Goes back. Forward. Rotates. Tilts. There's no waist twist where you have the diaphragm joint. Ball joint hips. Thigh swivel. Double joint knees. Boot cuts, of course. Hinged up. Down. Well, might as well let's do that. These are very tight. Up, down, and ankle pivots. I would hope not everyone will have the same QC issues I have, but with some of the design defect, with making these like this, that's not a QC issue. That's just stupidity right there. Well, they got the hinges correctly for the gun holding hands. Trigger fingers, they go up and down. But the ones meant for holding the sword, not so much. So let's just go ahead and change the sword hand out, even though it's going to have a trigger finger, to one I can actually do a vertical hinge. So that looks proper, even though there's a trigger finger. And I decided not to use the rubber guns that he comes with. I just recently got some of the Valverse weapons packs. I'll just use one of the pistols from that set instead of the rubber guns. With this set, it's actually a not bad looking set with the sculpt wise, even though they did cheap out with Negasonic Teenage Warhead by not doing anything new from the mid torso down. It's all reuse, even improper reuse, since they used the wrong style boots for Negasonic Teenage Warhead. It looks so much better with the magic style boots like I seen in the screen right now. With my Deadpool, I had a lot of QC issues with Deadpool. Well, one, everybody has the guns glued into their holsters. That was just complete stupidity on Hasbro's part. This is not a kid's line, it's a 14 plus line, as shown on the boxes. So there was no reason to have the guns glued in the holsters. I had the waist glued, or the waist twist did not work. I had to really heat the figure to get the waist twist to work. Broke free, and plus I had to use a knife, which if anyone has an issue and they're doing that method, be very careful with these. They're super sharp. Plus, you have the wrong hinged hands for holding swords. And the guns they did give us are goofy Nerf guns that weren't glued in. The swords, to me, are too thin. They look way too small proportionally for 6-inch scale figure. Seems undersized for an actual katana. Hopefully, other people that got this set don't have the QC issues like I had. It's still a great looking sculpt for Wade Wilson and Deadpool. I just actually was able to fix most of my issues except for the like a glue smudge on the ab section. I'll try to match up some paint and take care of that part. There's nothing else I can do. You have to be careful with like any kind of paint strippers on this textured material. It'll like a lot of things you'd use to get tampo paint off things or any kind of paints. It can actually soften the plastic and actually melt it a little bit. So you gotta be very careful with that stuff. Thank you everyone for taking the time to watch the review, and like, share, subscribe, and check back with us. Should be tomorrow or the next day. I should have the Deadpool 2 Amazon exclusive up. I just want to get this one up for the comparison. I'll catch y'all next time.